Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of the darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper, and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy the nice guys on business. Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, nice guy community. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner on this side of the mic. On the other side, Mr. Doug Sandler. This interview is not for the faint of heart.
Totally not for the faint of heart. Nor was our appearance at the DC Podfest. No,
and not for the squeamish, not for the people who are uncomfortable with.
Hey, Strick, who would have thought? Who would have thought that a fun old topic of bringing humor to a business or to a serious podcast would have created so much of a stir at DC Podfest as we created? How about that for a teaser?
No, that was good, but I think maybe we shouldn't get into too many details about that until, I would say tomorrow, but we already recorded tomorrow's show at DC Podfest. So you're going to have to wait till Wednesday to hear about the controversy that we stirred up at DC Podfest.
Are we actually going to put, so the interview that we recorded, I don't even remember the guy's name that helped us from,
Alex, I believe.
Alex, yes. Good. So Alex, who helped us to record the interview, we're actually playing that as tomorrow's episode.
I think so, because our Funkin' fans spoke out and begged us to record.
Very nice of them. Very nice of them. Mm-hmm. We did hear from many disgruntled Funkin' fans saying, "What? You can't not have episodes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday just because you guys are going to be doing a mastermind group. Hey, we're in Ohio, we're in Iowa, we're in San Francisco, we're in Chicago, we're in New York, we're in everywhere." It was great. I felt actually, for a moment, like we had something.
Yeah, except I wouldn't say disgruntled. I would say possible, but potentially disappointed. We told them, we didn't say we're not going to do it. We just said we needed to hear from them, right?
We needed, and hear from them we did. So your wishes have been honored, Funkin' fans. We are not only just going to be airing today's episode with Dr. Sandra LaMorgese and Friday's episode with Jennifer Hecht from the Dating Advisory Board, but there will be a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday program. So.
Why? Because you asked for it. And that is part of our promise statement, right, Doug?
That would be a part of the promise statement. I agree. So it would be one,
and you would actually tell them the promise statement if you had it in front of you, which you don't. That would be to provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life. And I want to clarify here that I did not have that memorized. I pulled it up as you're searching for yours. So obviously my PC product is superior to your Apple product. Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's not the case. User error, right? We decided it's user error.
Yes. Every time there is an issue with my computer, it really is user error. Apple has done such a great job of marketing. Oh, gosh. So Strick. So I get a whole tirade on my tirade. That's the correct word, right?
Yeah. Well, I think so. I'm going to have to hear what it is you actually are going to say, but I'm guessing a tirade.
Somebody posted on, if you go over to DougSandler.com, you actually can see a complaint.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody said that we did a mediocre job at best of explaining the differences between a OneNote. Was it Evernote? What do you use? Evernote or what?
I use OneNote, but I have used Evernote in the past.
And what a pathetic example of an infomercial for Apple. So I'm like, okay, all right. Really? So at least, yeah, it was very interesting. It didn't even anger me. I actually just thought it was okay. There you go.
Where did they post this?
On my website. Hold on. As you maybe give a little information about what's coming on,
This is Sandra LaMorgese's episode. Maybe we should talk about this. Let's
do it.
But I'm really excited to hear about it.
Let's tease that for Wednesday. I think that would be really good. So Wednesday, if you come back, because tomorrow we've already pre-recorded the episode. We did that at DC Podfest. You'll enjoy that. If you come back on Wednesday, we're going to have what I would formally call who was the guy? Maybe was it Tim? Tim wasn't the one that complained originally, and then we brought him back, was it? That was somebody else, I think. Correct.
Tim was 10cc. He asked about that.
Yeah, that's right. So of course I know you, Tim. Tim, thank you for all your contributions over the last couple of weeks. Hope you're doing well on the whole 30. We had a complaint. I responded to the complaint, and then they didn't retract the complaint, but they said, hey, I appreciate the way that you responded to me in such a light nature, and I'm feeling a little bit better.
I was having a bad day.
Yeah, that guy was having a bad day, or maybe his life was a little bit busy. But on Wednesday, we're going to actually read our first official. I would almost call it our first "fuck you."
Okay, I like that. I'm glad.
We'll read through that. That was fun. But let's get to a little bit into what I did on our interview today with Dr. Sandra LaMorgese, because I think this is a really good episode. Mm-hmm. Totally good, and I think it is completely appropriate for our audience, although some people are going to find offense. If you find offense to nudity, S&M, being a dominatrix, or anything, is it perversive? It's not persuasive, so it would be
anything persuasive. No, anything perverse.
Perverse, that would be a thing. Then just go ahead and tune out now. But if you like a little bit of controversy, and if you like maybe the word cock said once or twice, you're about to get that in this interview. So
is there? I know there's an explicit rating. Is there an ultra explicit rating? I don't think we can do that.
If there is one, maybe there should be, because you know how I ask every guest I ask at the end of the interview, can you share with us the last photo that you actually took on your phone? She does, and it is very funny. And so you'll have to wait till the end of the interview to get to that part. So it's in there. It's all good.
There's a great scene. And again, some of our fans might be offended by this, but you know what? If the episode is any indication, there's a movie called Focus with Will Smith that just came out like less than a year ago. And he meets up with an old girlfriend, right? And he's like, hey, what have you been doing? And he's like flipping through his phone. He's like, oh yeah, here's pictures. Here's my wife. And oh yeah, here's my kids. And he flips through and he's like, and that's my dick. And it's like, he just says it totally casual, like, yeah, that's my dick. Okay.
Yeah, well, we get a little bit of that on the show. Dr. Sandra, she's really good. I believe that she was a guest on the Oz show, on Dr. Oz.
Yeah, Dr. Oz, yeah.
And she has some really great things to talk about. If you have ever found yourself in a position of reinvention in your life, you want to listen to this show. If you've ever found yourself in a position of stepping outside your comfort zone or wanting to step outside your comfort zone, Dr. LaMorgese is definitely the person to listen to. At 55, she went through this entire life reinvention, making me feel completely like what I'm going through as a 47-year-old when I was 47, and reinventing in the speaking business and podcasting and book writing thing, made me feel like I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. Things are going to be okay. She went from completely broke and just not knowing the direction that she's going to go in to figuring out where life was going. And listen to how she's changed her life and turned her life completely in a different direction, all for the better. Very cool interview with Dr. Sandra LaMorgese.
No, it's so cool. You can go to her website, sandralamorgese.com. Of course, all the links will be in our show notes, and you can sign up for her blog. And when you do that, you get a free ebook called 5 Steps for Better Communication, Sex, and Happiness. Did I mention better sex? And, that sounds pretty good to me.
That is good. So any final words before we get to the interview?
Oh, geez. No, I mean, she's been on the New York Post and GQ and Forbes and Dr. Oz, as you said, Howard Stern. I mean, she's been mentioned everywhere. It's really interesting. So I think we should just jump in and get to the interview with Dr. Sandra LaMorgese.
Let's do it. Bringing a whole new definition to overcoming your fear of public speaking. Our guest today, Dr. Sandra LaMorgese, that's a tough one, not only speaks in public, but recently did so and did exactly what people tell us to do. Well, almost. Instead of imagining the audience naked, she was naked. So here to tell her story, welcome to the Nice Guys on Business, Sandra.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. I'm so curious. So let's start dishing. What the hell was that all about?
Well, it all began. I was launching my new book, Switch Time for a Change. And I had originally scheduled it up in Boston at a Mind, Body, and Spiritual Health Connection Expo. Mm-hmm. And after a couple of weeks of setting it up, got my table ready, got my speaking platform, topic all arranged. And I got an email and a letter in the mail saying they cut me from the show because my book cover might make people feel uncomfortable.
That's always a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I'm like, where does your growth come from?
Right.
Not in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, So I was upset for 5 minutes, and I thought, well, let me just let this swirl around a little bit. Let's see what I can come up with, or what's brought to me, my mind. And a couple of days later, I had this brilliant idea, and I got a hold of my friend, Monica Warner at Bold and Naked Yoga. And I said, how would you like to have the first all-new book launch party over at your facility?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Have you experienced anything like that before, or is that the first?
No.
I mean, that's just, to me, the thought of that, not only am I afraid, I mean, I'm a guy that gets paid professionally to speak in public, and I still have that level of anxiety. I can't imagine, like where do you put your clicker? Your slide advancer.
Yeah, there's just no clicker.
So what was that? So how did that, so it went down, so you didn't do the one in Boston, but you instead moved it to New York. Is it say New York or somewhere else?
Yes, in New York City, yes.
And what was that? How you were probably welcome with open arms and other open body parts too, right?
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, I actually did get a warmth from the crowd, because a lot of them were nudists and naturalists, and some people, I had one guy fly halfway across the country.
Yeah, I was reading about that. How cool.
Yeah, and I had other women that had never done a nude event before, and they really wanted to break out of the box and try something new, and they had been reading my blogs and thought it would be a safe environment, which it was. And I really got inspired by them. So right off the bat, I kind of turned the attention away from my insecurities about body image and started to get more curious about the other people there. And that kind of relieved my anxiety and my discomfort of being naked in front of people. And I mean naked.
Yeah. I was watching the video of it, and I like how you, in a classy way, and not that anything that you do wouldn't be classy, but in a classy way, you've kind of created it so that a viewer that's not used to watching a situation like that, you've really done a good job with the filtering. So nice.
Yeah, and I think the censoring is great. I mean, it does take down the anxiety level of some people that might be offended or not used to seeing people nude.
Right.
It just makes it comfortable for everyone.
So, and
myself too.
I was about to say that when you put yourself in a situation where you're dealing with others, that this is their normal. I mean, this is, if you're a naturalist or if you're a nudist or I've never participated in an event like that. I'm just so self-conscious. I mean, I'm self-conscious with the clothes that I wear. I can't imagine taking them off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the whole idea of it. So tell our nice guy community, the listeners that are out there, what it is that you do. So we know you're an author. I got that. It sounds like you have some level of public speaking that you do also. But what do you make your living at?
I do consultations with clients on mind, body, and spiritual sexual health connection. And I'm also a New York City dominatrix.
Okay, so let's talk about the I don't want to, completely hit the elephant in the room yet. We'll get to there in a second. Let's talk about the first part of that. I know the nice guy community is like, she what? What did she just say? Yeah. Talk about the first part, the consultation side. How do you separate the two? I guess we'll go there in a second, but what's the first part of your as a consultant?
Well, most people have a lot of guilt and shame revolved around their sexuality, and that comes from external and internal influences. So what I do is work with clients to bring them to a level of comfort about their own value and worth and what makes them happy in their own desires, which really is basically what we all are, and what we all want is acceptance and approval and feel like we're not in this dark room by ourselves.
What's so interesting about what you're saying, too, is that it knows no socioeconomic line. It knows no hierarchy within an organization. You could be dealing with the CEO of a $100 million company, and you could be dealing with somebody that, that takes out the trash at the night for that $100 million company. We all have that level of insecurity. And isn't it amazing how similar we all are, no matter where we are and what station we are in life?
Yeah, we are very similar, and I try to bring that to my clients, and it really works. I think that once people get a feel of like they're okay, and there's no such thing as normal. We're all normal of what our own desires and who we are. Mm-hmm. Then people really start to get more confident, and the more confident you get, then the more that you value yourself. And then what your needs are.
Help me for a second, because I read in a number, and by the way, you're a very good writer. I really enjoyed over the last couple of weeks since we've had this set up, and I've met you through social. I've had a chance to get on your blog and kind of check some stuff out and see about you.
Thank you.
And it is far more than just a surface level conversation that's to be had. I mean, we're only going to spend 15 or 20 minutes talking, but Nice Guy Community, definitely take a moment. We'll put in a link in the show notes how to get to Sandra's website, because you do go into a lot of depth on your website in your conversations that you have on your blog. You talk about, or at least maybe you don't talk about, but I hear mentioned through your writing and through other people that are writing about you, this term called authentic living.
Yes.
And it's really kind of cool, because I never really put a definition to what does it mean to live authentically. It just sounds like such a 2016 bullshit term, but it really, there is a lot of importance that should be placed in this. What do you hear when you hear the term authentic living?
I hear self-love, and I hear fear, and it's really baby stepping or stepping out into the box, into the world where you live free. So, authentic living, it takes a lot of courage. And once you go into it, and we go into it through our whole lives, because we're always changing, life is change, we actually become a whole person, and we actually become happy and loving and joyful. Instead of going through all those negative suppression feelings like anger and resentment that we feel when we're not authentic.
What's interesting about what you're saying is, oftentimes I found this through therapy myself. When I was married the first time with my first wife, I found that maybe I was not living authentically for that 20-year period of time. Maybe I was. I don't really know. I feel like I was a completely different person. And when I went to therapy, the therapist kind of lays it all out, and it kind of exposes that raw nerve. And I'm almost afraid. I hate to say this, because it maybe this is a cop out of an answer, but it's almost like I'm afraid to live authentically because I'm so afraid of what the world is going to think about the real me,
Absolutely.
Like, we all have that kind of fear?
No, we don't want to be rejected. We don't want to, be abandoned. Our number one fear, we do not want to be abandoned.
So we live this life that we think that we think other people will want to see from us, and that's just kind of a false reality. None of us want to live that way, but some of us do. And I have to admit that first part of my life, I lived that way, and I was not happy.
Okay, so, I'm going to turn it back on you for a second.
Sure.
So what turned the tables? When did you start saying, you know what, I have to start living authentically?
What was really interesting about it for me, it was a meeting of all places. It was a meeting with my financial planner and I was 47 years old, and he said to me, "Hey, Doug, I'm a DJ. I don't expect you to know anything about my background, but I'm a DJ, and I had been a DJ for the last 30 years at that point." And he said, "Just look at your life. What do you want? Where are you heading? What do you want?" And he wasn't saying it in a negative way. He was just honestly just saying it. And I said, as soon as he said that, I really just didn't know. I kind of didn't know where my life was going from a professional perspective. From a personal perspective, I just woke up one day and just said, I'm not happy where I am. I feel like I'm not living this life that is truly, let's throw it back here, I'm not living an authentic life.
Right.
And I had to start making some changes. If I didn't, I saw myself as 65, 70, 75, dead, and never having lived the full potential of what I was all about.
And what a shame that would have been.
Yeah. And I don't think it's ever too late.
No.
It's
never too late.
It's you're no stranger to fear or to reinvention yourself. And you just recently wrote this book called Switch: Time for a Change. And can you talk about your reinvention for a moment and how that transpired? And you get raw here. I mean, it's okay, because it sounds like there was some times when you didn't know what the fuck was going on. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Back in before 2011, I started to really start changing my thoughts and feelings about being authentic. And I had a wellness practice in New Jersey. It was award-winning. I just, renovated a whole big, beautiful facility, and I was, working a lot. And I thought, what am I doing with my life? And I wanted to make some changes. And I started working with energy work and started studying metaphysical science and, female sexual empowerment, and started thinking about dating and doing all these things. And just like that, my wellness practice, the rug got pulled out from under me, and I was 55 years old, and I had no savings because I had just renovated my facility. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any family members who could help me. I had nothing. And there I was sitting in my apartment as 55. No one would give me an interview.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is my age. Something is going. I have 20 years as a successful entrepreneur and all this education. Why can't I get an interview? And I just was waiting for something to inspire me or, move me down the line somewhere. And a girlfriend said to me, true story, a girlfriend said to me, Sandy, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I looked at her, and out of my mouth came the words, is it illegal to be a dominatrix? Okay. And she's like, I don't think so.
How did that? See, for me, it would be, is it illegal to eat Pop-Tarts for a living? That's what I would have said. How did you come up with that one, Sandra?
Exactly. And then I rejected the idea immediately. Of course, it's just ridiculous. And she said, well, I don't know. You've been doing all this female sexual empowerment and this energy transmutation stuff. This could really be walking the walk. And I thought, well, you know what? You have a good point. It could be walking the walk. And I couldn't imagine how that could ever happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 55 years old. I was certainly no longer a size 4. And I just thought, well, society is telling me that this could not happen, Women over 40 or 50, forget it.
You read 50 Shades of Grey, didn't you?
I did not. I did not.
Okay, I only got through the first few chapters on an airplane. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
I had to stop. It was getting a little crazy. I had to put it down.
So anyway, I just got really curious about that whole idea, and curiosity got to me. I Googled how to be a dominatrix in New York City. Mm-hmm. And I found a blog a woman wrote, and she said she went to work at this dungeon and she only lasted a day because of the psychological and physiological torture. And I called them for a job.
Because that's what you're into.
Yeah. I said, you know what? Let me see what they say to me.
Right.
And of course they ignored me, and I just heard this voice send me pictures. I had no idea what they were talking about. And I just got so caught up with this whole thought, and I thought this could really empower me. And could you imagine if I could actually do this, and what would it be like, and what is this subculture like? And I just was fascinated by the whole idea of doing it.
But Sandra, some people say, what would it be like to be able to write for HuffPost? I mean, you're actually talking about what's it like to be able to go and work in a dungeon.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really super crazy.
Okay, I'm with you.
And it was just so incredibly crazy. And I just kept emailing them. Don't let my tantric zen fool you. I can do this. I'm a hard worker. And they finally got back to me on Christmas Eve. And they said, would you like to come in on Tuesday night for an interview?
All right.
And yeah, I'll do it. I was shaking in my shoes. Can I tell you, it was a thunderstorm that night. It was so perfect. It took me 2 hours to get into Manhattan. Usually it takes me about 20 minutes. I found the door. I walked down these creepy, dark, dirty, dingy stairs.
Yeah.
All paint chipped, and I just couldn't believe it. And a woman greeted me at the bottom. And she said, who are you? And I told her, and she said, oh, yeah, we're expecting you. And I went through
we have everything all set up for you.
I just was like, oh, wow. And I went through the interview process, and she's sitting back in her high chair and smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, oh, God, smoking in the workplace? I mean, right there, I was kind of shocked.
Okay.
And we went through the interview process, and she offered me a job.
Okay, I'm just mind blown. I mean, it's just I don't even know how to even go on that job interview. I would have been scared shitless.
It was insane, and you go like you would have went, or like most of the listeners would have went, like regular business clothes,
Right.
I had no experience of knowing I should maybe be wearing something leather.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, you've been pictured on HuffPost, actually 15 pictures, as the dominatrix with her client. I think that's something like the title of it, and we'll put a link in the show notes so that you have access to that. That's got to feel really empowering and powerful and so open to the world, but it's also we just talked about it, it's got to be like scary as anything. So how does your life then, so we'll talk about the elephant a little bit more here. How does your life now make this transition to this new world, or were you living two worlds at the same time?
No, well, I stayed down in the dungeon for a year. And you
came home at night, right?
I came home at night.
All right. I got the envision that you were imprisoned there for a year.
No, I came home at night, and probably about 6 months into it, I knew I was going to write the book.
Yeah.
Because I thought, this is I met the most empowering women. I mean, every woman should be a dominatrix for 6 months, honestly, because it really does transform you. You get empowered, you learn your boundaries, you get aggressive. I mean, it just was unbelievable in all areas of my life. And then I started to then I left the dungeon after a year and I started working independently. And then I started to want to creep back out into the light.
Yeah, it sounds like you could take a lot of the lessons that you learn. Okay? I just keep having this vision, you sitting with a CEO and some of the same life lessons that you're learning in the dungeon, you're now teaching them in the boardroom. But there is a lot of consistent, similarities, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It was very empowering. I mean, in business, you have to have a certain energy and a certain self-standard of value.
Right.
And when to be able to project that out into the world, into the business world, it takes masculine energy. It's not really feminine energy when you're in business and you're trying to build your career and you're an entrepreneur and you're really working at it. It takes really strong masculine energy. Like if you're trying to, bench press an extra 50 pounds, that takes a certain type of force. And you learn that force when you're a dominatrix. And I don't mean sometimes physical, but mostly mental. I mean, push your boundaries. And you're like, wow, if I can beat this guy's ass, I can really go in there and speak to these people.
Right.
If I can dress this guy up in a diaper and walk him around in the hallway.
And he's looking for it. He's waiting. He's expecting it.
It's consensual.
Right.
It's very consensual. It's not, it's definitely consensual. And then I just started pitching the Huffington Post. And the next thing you know, they're loving me, and I'm like, wow, what is happening?
Yeah, because that gets clicks. I think that, anytime that you involve sexuality in the corporate workplace, it is taboo, but at the same time, it's the same reason why the porn industry is an $80 billion a year industry, yet nobody clicks.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't get that.
Yeah. So, so now my articles, I primarily write for HuffPost 50, people over 50, but my editor loves me. I mean, all my articles get on the front page of the Huffington Post before millions of this platform.
Right.
And I took what I learned in the dungeon and working as a dominatrix and really, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And I started writing these articles. And it was really scary because every time I hit submit, I'm like, oh shit.
Right. No, I'm the same way.
What's going to happen?
I'm the same way. I write for HuffPost too. I don't get the front page coverage that you do because I don't have pictures of me in a leather thong or anything like that. I'm not throwing out any information that you are keeping a secret. You're in your 60s. You're 60 something. I would hardly call 60 old age, especially from a 52-year-old guy like me. And you're looking good not for a 60-year-old. You're looking good at any age.
Thank you.
But spend a moment talking about the self-limiting doubts that we all have, and what that really can do for your career, because that will screw you up.
Oh, it does. It really does. And you really have to let go of fear, and you have to stop, like you say, you have to stop worrying about what other people are thinking about your work, because you're inspiring the other group. I mean, you're going to get, how can I explain it? You're going to get both, and you have to accept both. People are going to love you and people are going to hate you, but that starts the conversation. If everyone loves you, this conversation doesn't even get started.
Well, that's so true. I mean, I had a conversation last night with Jeffrey Hazlett. I don't know if you know him, but he's a guy that runs an organization called the C-Suite Network up in New York. And we were talking about what is it that we tend to focus on. You know, you have 100 5-star reviews and you get one star review. Which one are you focused on?
The one.
On the one. We're all like that. And then all of a sudden that starts to feed into that. I told you, you big shit, stay down. You know, it starts.
Well, that's true. But if you start embracing the hate or the criticism and see that as just another person's opinion of their maybe core values or how they feel, then you can accept it and not put it on yourself. Not everyone's going to think the same way that you think. And as long as you, like you said, as long as you put out good content, good art, good writing, good content, they're not really criticizing your work. They're just criticizing the topic.
Right. Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah. They're not, no one is attacking, no one that knows you, that if they don't know you, they're not attacking you personally. Exactly. They can't possibly even know you to know enough to attack you. So just look at the words for just what they are. They are words and work around them. And
you know what else? Honestly, you could be arguing with a 13-year-old. You don't know who the troll is.
Very, very true.
You know, there might be like 2 or 3 13-year-olds, like we used to get prank calls back in the day, saying, "Oh, let's get on HuffPost and get some people excited." Like, you don't even know who you're talking to, these trolls. And they only want to start, they just want to get you upset so they can start a little argument. As long as you don't argue with them and you ignore them, then they're bored. They go away.
I completely agree with that. Don't feed into them.
Yeah, don't feed into them at all. But love it because they're actually working for you. Because the more traffic you get and the more clicks you get, then the more work you're going to get.
Ain't that true? It's all about the traffic. Let them lambast you as much as they care to, because it's just giving you additional exposure for sure.
Yeah, I just feel like they're my little slaves.
You see that? It's all coming back to the same spot.
They're my little slaves, and they don't even know it.
Hey, I'm curious, Sandy. Answer how you would answer these 5 questions for me. They're going to be quick fire answers. So I'm just looking at very top of the first thing that you're thinking of as I say these, ask you these questions. Are you ready to play this game for a moment?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. All right. Be relatable. What do you suck at?
What do I suck at being relatable? Sometimes I go over the top.
Okay. All right.
I might want to use fuck too many times in my articles and my editor pulls me back.
That's okay. What's the safe word? Is there a safe word? Do you have one? You said I go too far. Well, there's got to be a safe word, right?
Yeah, no, I don't. I know, no safe word.
All right, be transparent. How did you pay your bills when you first got going?
I was doing Dominatrix work.
Okay.
Every day. Wow. I was paying my bills and working. And while I was doing that, I was sitting on my couch writing a book and finishing my PhD.
How does Dominatrix work pay? Does it pay well?
Very well.
That's good. All right. Be confident. What do you do as an entrepreneur that's as good as it gets?
Vulnerability.
Okay.
The more vulnerable I become, the more empowered I become. And then the more I step out of my comfort zone and the bigger I get.
All right. Excellent. Be humble. What experts did you need to call upon to make shit happen for you?
What experts did I call upon? The masters.
Okay.
I have a whole library of the masters sitting right on my left-hand side here. And I read all their books and I listened to them and trusted them.
Oh, that's excellent. So you relied upon the books and the judgments of the answers in the books, the interpretation that you had of the books that you read.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Last one here. Be realistic. Where are you going in the next 90 days and how far into the future can you see?
I'm really actually pushing my boundaries now to get bigger and bigger. So with networking. So where I've come so far with networking and working and collaborating with other people, I'm up in my game now. So I'm at like the CEO of Penthouse kind of stuff.
Oh man, that is excellent.
Yeah. And actually, Kelly Holland, the CEO of Penthouse Magazine, just wrote the foreword to my book.
I saw that you have there was a whole article that was written either about her or with her or something like that. I don't know if you wrote it or somebody else wrote it, but it was a whole article about.
Yeah, I did write that. Yes.
Yeah, your exposure in Penthouse, and what a very, very cool thing. Well, you guys definitely have a lot in common. She overcame so much adversity in her life, also to rise to the top of Penthouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that I'm upping my game. I'm really taking risks and really upping my game.
All right, let's get to the fun part of the interview here. Do you have a cell phone anywhere near you?
I do.
Excellent. Do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
An iPhone, Dick.
Did you just call me a dick?
Dude.
All right. Okay, so you have an iPhone. That's good.
I call you on a dick the first interview.
Yeah, it's usually the second one that you wait for that. Hey, go to your picture app. What's the last photo you took? Oh, this could be interesting.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, I want to know.
The last photo I took is of me in the dungeon yesterday, being the boss.
Oh, nice. How many subjects do you have there?
Oh, quite a few. Fetish doesn't go away.
Oh, okay. Excellent. All right, and go to. Maybe you could send me that picture. We'll put it in the show notes. No, don't do that. I'll have people come to your website. They can see your pictures there.
Well, the one before that, I have one of my client all dressed up as a sissy, all wrapped in cellophane.
Somehow I knew finally this question would pay off. I've been asking this, Sandy. I've done, I don't even know. We're on episode like 200. I think your episode will be like 220 or something like that. I've had maybe 150 interviews through that. Nobody has given. I'm waiting for the exciting answer, and I did not even see it coming until I asked the question.
You should have known.
I should have known, totally. All right, go to your texting app.
Oh, geez.
What's the last text that you sent and received?
Oh, geez.
This will be fine. This will be good. It'll be over quickly.
Yeah. It was actually to a client who has a cuckolding fetish, and I'm meeting him this afternoon for a counseling session.
Excellent. So, I don't want to know who it's to. I want to know what it said, though.
Yeah. So it's actually, I'm going to give you a preview of my next article for Huffington Post. Should come out next week.
Okay.
Here is why a husband gives his wife encouragement to be an adulteress.
Oh, excellent. Oh.
Yeah, so that's all about cuckolding. And this client that I'm seeing this afternoon helped me. He submitted some of his thoughts about how he loves his wife to cheat on him. It turns him on sexually.
Okay. Well, I guess different strokes for different folks. Speaking of cockholding. Sandra, thank you so much. What a great fun interview. I'm looking forward to the air date and getting all the backlash from my community. Who the hell did you put on today?
Oh my God, yes. Well, thank you for inviting me. It was fun.
My pleasure. Special thanks to all right, I'm gonna not butcher it here. Sandra LaMorgese, right? Dr. Sandra LaMorgese. All of her information will be in the show notes. Nice guy community. Never underestimate the power of being dominated by someone else. Special thanks to the doctor today. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the nice guys on business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Because it's such a fine line between stupid and clever.